All right, as we get started today, have your supplements open to page 43. We're going to review over insurance. We've spent the last 4 lessons talking about insurance. We've talked about car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, health insurance. And so let's look over some of these terms at the top of page 43. A beneficiary. First of all, what kind of insurance, and there's only one, what type of insurance has a beneficiary? As you take the water bottle off your desk there, Bryson? Life insurance. And who is or what is a beneficiary?
A beneficiary is a person when their significant other or somebody that they know died, that the money or anything that they make, like little thing, goes to them.
They get the money. In life insurance, they're the one who gets the money. That's the beneficiary. There's not really a good definition necessarily for this. Just how would you describe it in your own words? What's a claim? What's a claim, Jalen?
It's where you file something and you get money for it, I guess.
So you file something to who?
The insurance company.
There we go. So you tell the insurance company there's been something they need to help you with, basically. That's not a great definition, but it's basically a claim is you telling insurance, this happened, I need you to help me out. It's kind of what a claim is. Collision coverage. Obviously, we're talking about what kind of insurance with collision coverage, Ben? Car insurance. Now, who is covered by collision coverage? Who does collision coverage take care of?
The person that got collided into.
Oh, no. The other one. So,
The opposite.
the person who... Class?
Caused
The
it.
person who caused it, right? The person who caused it. If they have collision... Now, do you have to have collision coverage, class?
No.
You don't have to. But if you have collision coverage and you're the cause of the accident, your collision coverage covers yourself, your own car. Co-insurance. What type of insurance has something called co-insurance? Kirsten?
Health insurance.
Health insurance. And what is co-insurance?
It's a percentage.
Good.
You have to pay on
And it's always after you've paid something
your
else.
deductible.
After you've paid the deductible. So it's a percentage of usually larger procedures that you pay after the deductible's already been met. That's called co-insurance. Good. But it's something that you as the patient, you as the policyholder have to pay. What is comprehensive coverage? Well, what kind of insurance does comprehensive coverage apply to, Joel?
Other damages.
Well, right, but is it like car, home, life, or health? What is comprehensive coverage?
It's like car.
Car insurance, there we go. And it specifically covers what? You kind of said it already.
Hail damage, stuff like that.
Stuff other than
Cars.
car accidents, right? Something other than your vehicle's in motion and something gets crunched, okay? So like if you back into, my mom did this once, she backed into a light pole, crunched the back bumper. Okay, that's collision coverage because you collided with something. You were in motion in the vehicle, bad thing happened. But if something happens while the vehicle's just parked, there's not actually a car accident, but something bad still happened to your car, that's the comprehensive. You kind of got to that. Yes, sir?
So what if you're in your car and you're going down the highway and it gets hit by hail?
They would still call that comprehensive. They would still call that comprehensive because it wasn't necessarily a car accident. You didn't hit anything. Something kind of hit you, sort of, kind of. What's a copayment? Well, what kind of insurance deals in copayments, Michael?
Health insurance.
Health insurance. And what's a copayment?
It's the money that when you go to the doctor's office, the money you have to pay.
Good. And it's not, unlike the co-insurance, which is a percentage, copayment is a...
Currency? Dollar sign?
I used a dollar sign to illustrate it, but what I'm looking for is...
Set amount of money.
It's a set amount of money. It's either $10, $15, $20. It's some set amount of money. Maybe for for instance, emergency room copays. Might be $100. Whatever, right? So different services have different copays, but it's a set amount of money. You don't have to do any weird math for a copay. Co-insurance, there's math involved. Copay, it's that much. You pay that, insurance takes care of everything else. It does not apply to the deductible either. But speaking of deductible, this applies to everything except for what kind of insurance doesn't have a deductible, class? Life insurance, because you're dead. You can't pay the deductible. All right, so there's no deductible on life insurance. But what is a deductible in general, Luciana?
It's a down payment.
It's like a down payment, kind of. You could think of it that way, except a down payment, you pay it and then you finish paying something off. Deductible is like a down payment in that you have to pay it.
Monthly?
There's two words. No, not pay it monthly. You pay it, class, up front. You pay it up front, but the difference is with a down payment, like an amortized loan, you make the down payment and you make off the monthly payments after that. With a deductible, you pay the deductible up front and then class,
To pay the rest.
insurance pays the rest. And they pay it in one lump sum. They don't pay it over monthly payments. So it's how much you pay up front before insurance pays anything. So what's a deductible?
It's a price that you pay up front before insurance pays anything.
There we go. What you pay up front before insurance pays anything. Escrow payment. Ooh. What type of insurance does an escrow payment have anything to do with? Corey? Has nothing to do with car insurance. Jalen?
Health.
Not health insurance. Kirsten?
Home.
Home insurance. Home insurance. And what is escrow? It's not even home insurance necessarily, but it does have to do with home insurance. Kirsten?
Escrow payment is when you have to only pay your home insurance and the
Joel?
Homeowners insurance and property taxes.
Okay, so it's the home insurance that you pay for your house, and it's the property taxes you pay on your house, Corey. So escrow, home insurance, property taxes. Who do we pay escrow to, class? The bank. And the bank sets that money aside in your escrow account all year long until the insurance company once a year says, hey, we need to have money, and the bank pays them. And once a year when the government says, hey, we need more money, and they pay them too, right? So the bank collects that escrow all year long. HMO plan. There's two things you need to know about the HMO plan. This is health insurance, remember, Health Maintenance Organization Plan. And I said, is it cheaper or more expensive, class?
Cheaper.
It's cheaper because you have to stay
In
network. HMO, it's cheaper and you have to stay in network or they don't pay anything. And so it's a lot more restrictive, but it's cheaper. You pick. What do you want? Are you okay with restrictive for the sake of cheaper? By all means. Insurance, I told you, is protection against loss. Protection against loss. It also gives peace of mind. Liability coverage. This is the third type of car insurance. What is up with liability? Actually, we need to get this from Corey still. Corey, what is liability coverage?
Liability is when, like, you use someone's car or someone else's car and take coverage of.
You're right there on it. Just didn't quite get it, Elaine.
So liability is like you have to have this, and if you don't have it, you can't drive.
Right. So it's required by law. That's a good thing to know about it.
So if you hit someone, that covers their car.
There we go. And Corey, you're right there. If you hit somebody, it covers them. It doesn't cover you too. Collision covers you if you have it. Liability covers them. So required by law, you hit somebody, it covers them. Out-of-pocket maximum. Which kind of insurance does this apply to? Anyone?
Health.
Health insurance. And it's literally the maximum you will pay out of your pocket after that health insurance covers everything. So again, that's every year, there's a certain number. You will never spend more than this in a year with your health insurance on health care. Once you've paid this much for health care, insurance got you for the rest of the year on everything. So other than co-payments, you still have to make co-payments because that doesn't count. But like co-insurances and deductibles all count toward that out-of-pocket max. What is a policy? What is an insurance policy then?
It's
Griffin.
Like a document you and your insurer go over to find out how much or be charged a month for it and all that.
It's your contract. It's your agreement, right? It's your contract with the insurance company. You agree to pay this. They agree to pay that. That's your policy. Who is a policy holder then?
like someone that holds the policy.
So how would you hold a policy? What would you have to do first? You'd have to
Get a policy.
pay for it, right? It's the person who buys the policy from the insurance company, right? So the company and the policyholder have a policy. That's their agreement between the insurance company and the policyholder, the customer of the insurance company. PPO plan, class, we said that's a little more expensive because it allows you to go out of network. And if you need to see a specialist with a PPO plan, you don't need anyone remember? Referral. right? An HMO plan to see a specialist, your doctor, your main doctor has to refer you to the specialist that they want you to see. You get to pick your own specialist. You don't even need the referral to go see a specialist with a PPO plan. A lot more flexible, but more expensive. What is a premium, Bryson?
A premium is like something that the government or not government, but like you have to pay monthly.
There we go. You pay it every month to who? Normally. Class? Insurance company. It's your insurance payment. You pay the insurance company every month for them to take care of you. And so you pay your premiums, they cover you. Again, technically home insurance, you're technically paying them to the bank, but it's really the bank is paying it on for you. So you're really still kind of paying it to the insurance company. Term life insurance, how does it work, Joel?
It lasts for like 10 to 20 years of life insurance. And
So you sign the agreement. You said it's good for 10 or 20 years, depending on the term you sign up for. So if you sign up for a 10-year term, you're covered for 10 years, right? So if you die in those 10 years, what happens?
you give the money you made in those 10 years to your benefit.
Oh, no, not the money you made in those 10 years.
The money that the policy has on it.
There we go, the coverage amount of the policy, which is always going to be way more than you paid in, right? So it's not how much did I pay, okay, that's how much the beneficiary gets. That would be rotten. That'd be really unfortunate. No, beneficiary gets way more than what you pay in, but if you don't die in the 10 years or whatever,
You can do it again.
you'd have to do it again because they get nothing, right? You don't die within that term, that's just pure profit for that insurance company. And they're banking on pure profit. That's how they're able to make it so cheap. They're banking on 90% of their customers are going to just give them pure profit. And that pure profit is what they can then pass on for the 10% or whatever it is, hopefully it's lower than that, who actually die within that specified term. Whole life insurance covers you, class, your whole life. And so, because you're guaranteed to die, they're guaranteed to have to pay something. So they charge you a lot more. But it's one set rate your whole life. It never changes. And you're good to go there. Flip over, if you would, to page 44. Let's take a look at your homework. Page 44 now. Let's take a look at your homework. Started with some volume formulas, some good review there. Then some order of operations and signed numbers. And then you got to use your calculators there at the bottom of the page for some insurance problems. Got some good review there as well. Let's take a look at number 1. If we have a 5 centimeter cube, what is the volume of that cube, Elaine?
125 centimeters cubed.
125 centimeters cubed is correct. Number 2, you got a rectangular prism box that's 12 inches long, 8 inches wide, and 10 inches tall. What's the volume of that box? Michael?
I have 160 inches cubed.
Not 160 inches cubed, Ben?
960 inches cubed.
960 inches cubed is correct. 12 times 8 times 10. Number 3, you got a cylinder. It's 3 inches tall, has a diameter of 4 inches. Now, or diameter of 8 inches, meaning radius of 4 inches. The volume formula here is a little bit more annoying, right? You got the pi r squared h. So for pi, class,
3.4.
or 22/7, but we don't have any 7s anywhere. The r squared, well, again, diameter is 8, class, so radius is 4. So r squared is 16. And then the h, it says, is 3 inches tall. I'm going to start with the easy math, the 16 times 3. 48. And then we'll multiply the 48 by the 3.14. You didn't have to do it in this order. Who said? I multiplied those numbers, and Corey, what'd you get for your volume of the cylinder or the can?
115.72 inches cubed.
Good, approximately equal to, that squiggly equal sign, 150.72 inches cubed, great job. And then number 4, we have a cone, 9 inches tall, has a radius of 2 inches. Remember, the cone is the 1/3 pi r squared h. So again, pi is still 3.14. The r squared gives us, class? 4, because 2 squared is 4. And then the h is 9. Let's start by taking, class, a third of the 9. A third of 9 is? 3 times 4 is?
12.
And then we multiply this by 12. What do we get for the volume of the cone, Kirsten?
inches cubed.
Approximately 37.68 inches cubed. So good review of volume. Hadn't looked at that really since the first 3 days of the quarter. So good to have a little review there. Number 5, we got to follow order of operations. And what did you get for your answer on number 5, Bryson?
152.
Oh my, what do we have to do first on this problem? Order of operations. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. What do we do?
Multiply. Oh no, add the 4.
Exponent, right? 4 squared is?
16.
So this is going to be 5 plus 9 times 3 minus 16. Now in order of operations, we multiply. 9 times 3 is?
18. Oh, 27.
27. So it's 5 plus 27 minus 16. Of course, 5 plus 27.
32.
32. And subtract away the 16, class.
16.
Should have been 16 for our answer there. So be careful following order of operations there. On number 6, it's really straightforward. I've got a negative 3. I got a positive 5. And then it says minus negative 7. Class, do we subtract?
No.
We?
Add
the inverse.
So I'm not going to minus any negative 7, class. I'm going to add a positive 7. And then it says plus negative 2. So that's obviously a negative 2. And then it says negative 8. So that's negative 8. I'll add my positives together. The 5 and what I changed to become a 7. Positive 5, positive 7, class?
12.
Positive 12. And I've got 1, 2, 3 negatives. Let's start here. Negative 8, negative 2.
10.
And then negative 3 more.
13.
Put that negative 13 with the positive 12. Signs are different now. Subtract, use the sign of the greater.
Negative 1.
Negative 1 is our answer. Number 7, we're multiplying. And the first thing I do is I count up the negatives. How many negatives there in number 7, Ben?
3.
3. Is that even or odd? So is my answer going to be a positive or a negative? Negative. So I'm getting negative something. Now we don't worry about the signs anymore. I just know it's going to be negative. Class, I'm going to start with 5 times 2.
10.
And then 4 times 6.
16.
24.
24. And what's 24 times 10?
2.
240. We use a little of that commutative property, kind of rearrange things a little bit to make the multiplication easier. How many had negative 240? On number 7. Good, several of you. Number 8, we got to follow order of operations again. Remember, a fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So we got to simplify everything in the top and then everything in the bottom and then do one division here. So in the top, what do I do first? Griffin?
Divide the 12 into 2.
To get?
6.
And then the 16 minus 6 just becomes a
10.
So the top becomes a 10. And then the bottom, what's the first thing I have to do? Michael?
Parentheses.
Parentheses gives us a
2.
times 2 plus 1. The next thing I got to do is
Multiply.
to get,
4.
and of course 4 plus 1 is,
5.
so it really becomes 10 over 5, class, or 10 divided by 5 equals?
2.
How many have 2 for number 8? 2 for your answer. Good, almost all of us that time. Great. Questions on those? Yes, ma'am.
You said number 1 was 125 centimeters.
125 cubic centimeters. Yep, good question. Good. All right, let's take a look at number 9. Mr. Rodriguez has minor surgery. It's minor, but it costs a lot. Costs $12,800. His deductible's $1,600, and he has a 10% coinsurance. How much does he have to pay? Joel, what did you do?
Well, I minus 1,600.
Perfect. Subtract the $1,600 first, and then
Multiply by 0.1.
good. Multiply that answer you got, the post-deductible amount, after deductible amount, by 10%. And what did you get for the co-insurance amount?
2,720.
All right, that was the total. So he got 1,120 for the co-insurance. Then he added it to the deductible, $1,600. So the answer is correct. $2,720 he has to pay. How many of $2,720 for his payment for this insurance, for this surgery? Of course, insurance pays everything else. A little over $10,000 there. Number 10. Miss Schuster visits the doctor. That costs her $380. To have some blood work done by the lab, that's another $260. Her office visit copay is $25. So class, instead of paying how much to visit the doctor? $380. She pays $25. Very nice. And she only pays 10% of the labs. The labs are $260. Well, we can do 10% pretty easily, class. 26. Just knock the zero off, right? That's 10% or a tenth. So she pays 26 for the labs. She pays 25 to the doctor. How much does she have to pay? What did you get for this one here, Luciana? $51. Then in that case, how much does the insurance company have to pay? Assuming they don't negotiate price down, which they probably do. But if they don't, how much does insurance have to pay? Anyone?
$640.
$381.
Ooh.
66.
All right, so there was a $380 doctor visit and a $260 lab. What's the total there, class?
$637.
How about $640? $640, that's the total if she had no insurance at all, right? Then Miss Schuster, would pay $640, but she doesn't pay that. She pays $51, $25 copay, $26 co-insurance on the labs. So that means insurance pays the rest, class. $589. Does that make sense how to find insurance's obligation? You just take the total minus what the patient pays, that's insurance.
My calculator isn't working.
Again? All right, here's an alternate. Let's make sure this one's got some shit. All right, Mr. Tamong bought a $500,000, $500,000 whole life insurance policy when he turned 27. Holy cow, he pays $420 a month. How much will he pay? If he passes away 2 months after he turns 81. Well, first of all, when he turns 27, he gets the policy. When he turns 81, how many years later is that?
54.
54 years later. But he didn't die for 2 more months. So he died after making payments for 54 years plus 2 extra months. Well, how many months are in 54 years?
648.
648 months are in 54 years. Plus, there were 2 more months before he died, right? So how many months did he pay his premiums? 650 months of premiums, right? And every month, this is ridiculous. This is why I do term life insurance. Every month he pays how much, class?
$420.
$420. We multiply those numbers. How much does he pay in premiums from the time he gets the policy to the time he passes on? Jalen? $273,000 he's been paying to the life insurance company. How many had that number? Does it make sense now how to approach it if you didn't see it before? Figure the years, and then if there's extra months, you add those on. Now, here's the question though. How much did the beneficiary get, class? $500,000. So it's still worth it, right? The beneficiary still got more than he ever paid. How much more, number 12, does his beneficiary receive than he paid? Well, to find this, class, we just subtract. And what do we get, Joel?
$227,000.
There we go. So the beneficiary didn't get this. Let's be clear. The beneficiary got how much, class? $500,000. But the beneficiary got this much more than he ever paid. I mean, that's a pretty good return on investment right there. If you paid, if you invest $273,000 and you profit $227,000, now you're not alive for it. But I still say it's worth it. It's just expensive. All right, number 13. Read that for us if you would, Michael. Nice and loud.
Ron Withers drove his car 20 years without an accident. He paid an average of $1,321.50 per year for car insurance. After 20 years, he caused an accident that cost $32,642 in damages to both vehicles. His deductible was $500. How much did Mr. Winters save by having car insurance?
All right, so when he causes the accident, how much damage is caused, class?
$32,642.
There we go. We can all read that, not just Kirsten, right? Everybody looking at number 13 in your books, you see $32,642, yes? Now, the insurance company doesn't pay all of that. It pays almost all of that. Mr. Winters has to pay his deductible, which is only $500. So insurance pays how much money here, class? Insurance pays this much. And Mr. Winters is glad because Mr. Winters doesn't have that much money. But he'd have a lot more money if he hadn't been paying for insurance all these years, right? For 20 years, he pays how much every single year, class? $13.21 So, how much has he paid in premiums over the 20 years? Who has that number written down? Corey?
$26,421.
$26,421. That's how much he's paid in premiums all these years, right? All right? So insurance pays this much on his behalf. He's already given the insurance. Most of that money came from him, right? He's paid all these premiums to the insurance company over the last 20 years. They pay out this much on his behalf. Did he save money or lose money? He saved money because insurance still paid more than he did, right? How much did he save? Well, all we have to do, class, is subtract. And when we subtract, we get
$5,721.
$5,721. All right, questions? Something ain't right. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Okay. Yes. All right. So there we go. Questions on that? How many got the $5,721 saved? Got a question on that, Jalen?
I got $5,691.
Start with the 32.1. I think you subtracted upside down. I think you started with this number and subtracted this. I think you actually got a negative there or something. Or maybe typed in some numbers backwards. So type it in again, but that should be correct. While she's typing that in, read number 14 for us, Elaine.
The Franklins have paid an average of $1,530 per year for home insurance the past 10 years. During that time, they made just one claim for damages totaling $9,238. Their deadline was $700.
Deadline?
Their deductible was $750. How much more did they spend on insurance than they benefited?
All right, now the first number is easy, class. $1,530 a year for how long?
10 years.
10 years. Easy math. Just stick a zero on the back. So how much have they paid in premiums over the past 10 years?
$15,300.
They've paid out $15,300 to the insurance company. That's money the insurance company has profited from them. Does that make sense, Michael? You look perplexed. You good?
No, it was just because I heard something wrong.
Okay, all right, so $15,300, that's in premiums that they have paid. And then they have to file a claim. There's a $9,238 damage to their house. Does the insurance company, class, pay all $9,238? No, because they have to pay their deductible first. Ben, how much was their deductible?
1,500. No.
How much was their deductible?
750.
$750. So how much does insurance actually pay here? Insurance doesn't pay the full $9,238. Class, insurance is going to pay, Kirsten's got it,
$8,488.
all right, how many found that that's how much insurance shells out? They pay out the $8,488. All right, just take the $750 off of the $9,238. So, who won here? The insurance company or the Franklins? Insurance company, because this is what the insurance company got. That's what they paid out for the Franklins. Yeah, Franklin's been losing money on this deal. Now again, peace of mind. What if it had been worse? What if there had been more damage? Okay, so how much did they, I mean, it's in all fairness, how much did they lose over the past 10 years? How much more did they spend on insurance than they benefited? What's that final answer we should have here? Luciana?
$6,812.
$6,812 lost, technically, over the past 10 years. Again, peace of mind. It's worth it. Questions? It's what if? What if? All right, flip back to page 43. Back to page 43. And number one, John buys an old used car. He's like, you know what? If I crash this car, it ain't worth it to me to pay my deductible and get the car fixed. It'll be totaled out for almost nothing anyway. Why would I pay for collision coverage when it's an old hunk of junk? And that's the right mentality. If it's an old car, it's probably not going to get you much anyway. Why would you pay every month for insurance when insurance is barely going to give you anything for it? Because it's worthless, basically. It's worth something to you. It gets you from point A to point B. So all he gets is the required class liability coverage, which means since all he's getting is liability, it don't cost him that much. All he has to pay is
$57.08.
every single month he pays that much. So number one asks, how much does he pay in a year? Find it very quickly. Don't call it out just yet. Find that first answer sheets. And Bryson's got it.
$604.96.
I got $684.96. Is that an 8 perhaps? It just looks like a 0?
Yeah.
Yeah, $684.96. How many had that answer? If you didn't, write it down now. Just multiply by 12 to find out in a year. So how many have realized there's a lot of times we multiply by 12? We do a lot of multiply by 12 around here. That's finance for you. $684.96. Now, number two, what if though? What if he'd said, you know what, no, I want collision coverage too? Well, then he would have had to pay $42.60 extra every month just for the collision coverage. That makes sense? So the liability is how much a month, class? $57.08. That was the last problem. The collision would have been another $42.60 a month. So how much would it have been, first of all, if he got both? If he's like, I want collision and liability, I want both of them. Every month, how much is he paying now? Griffin?
$568.
I'm not looking for the answer here. Just every month, how much is it costing him now? If he's already got the liability, he decides to add the collision as well. That makes his monthly premium go up. What's his monthly premium now?
What?
Joel? People, how much is he paying every month for liability?
$57.80.
That was in the last problem, $57.08. How much more is it if he also adds collision?
$2.60.
All we have to do is add, people. How much is it if he gets both kinds of insurance instead of just the liability? Griffin?
$99.68.
There we go. Don't make these problems hard. They're easy. $99.68. That's every month if he does the other, right? Now you think about it. Every month paying $57 or every month paying $99? You see why he chose not to get the collision coverage? Now, what if he did this, how much would he pay in a year? So we already found how much he got paid in a year just for the liability. How much would it have been if he'd gotten the collision? Well, multiply class by 12. And now, Griffin, what's the total if he had both kinds of insurance?
$1,196.16.
Now, in fairness, Griffin, what you could have done is what you did. You multiplied initially the $42.60 by 12. You could have added that on to our answer from number one, and that also would have worked. I just wanted you to see the monthly payment. Does that make sense? So it wasn't like your approach was necessarily wrong, but I wanted the class to see the monthly payment, because that's the check you write. That's the amount every month coming out of your paycheck. All right, does everyone have this number?
Yes.
All right, that's a lot more money every year, isn't it, than $684, okay? Now, number three, after 39 months, this is the other reason we need this number. After 39 months, that's 3 years, 3 months, right? He's at fault in a car accident. His car was totaled and would have been valued at $3,580. How much did he lose by not getting collision coverage? All right, so his car, the insurance company would have given him how much for his car, class? He would have gotten this much. Now, technically, this would have been minus a deductible, whatever that is. I don't know what the deductible would have been. So it would have actually been a little bit less than this, but let's just say this is what insurance gives him, okay? But he didn't have collision coverage, did he? So he doesn't get this money. He loses out on this much. Well, how much did he save? Well, he did. For the past 3 years, he's been saving. Every month he's been saving, hasn't he? Every month he's been saving this much, hadn't he? Every month for how many months? 39 months, right? It says 39 months he's been saving this much. So how much has he saved over the past 39 months? Go ahead and multiply that out real quick. 4260 by 39, Corey? Yeah, so, I mean, if he's looking at his wallet right before the accident, the morning before the accident, he's looking, it's like, man, I'm so glad I didn't get collision coverage, because every month I've been saving $42.60. Man, it's been 39, he's probably not actually thinking this, but just in theory, for the past 39 months, I haven't had to pay this, because I didn't get collision coverage. I've saved $1,661.40. Look at me. And then he causes a car accident. And he really wishes now that he'd gotten the $3,580 from the insurance company. So, what's his actual loss? He felt good about the $1,661, but he lost out on $3,580. So what did he actually end up losing by not getting the collision coverage? What we got there, Joel?
$1,918.60.
And again, technically, you'd have to subtract the deductible from this, which is probably $500. The point is, he still lost money. So even with the old hunk of junk, I don't know. Maybe he should have still gotten the collision coverage after all. All right, let's continue on. Number 4. I want to read that for us, if you would, Jalen.
The other car in the accident was also totaled, valued at $21,200.
Not a hunk of junk.
The other driver did not claim to sustain any injuries. How much did John save by having liability insurance?
At least he had liability, right? Of course, he had to, required by law. How much has he paid every month for his liability, class?
$57.
$57.08, right? For the past how many months before the accident?
39.
39 months. Okay, so how much has he paid in premiums over the past 39 months for this liability insurance? What did you get, Kirsten?
$2,226.12.
There we go. How many had $2,226.12? That's how much he's paid. But how much did insurance pay on his behalf when this other car got totaled? No injuries, so no medical expenses. How much did the insurance company pay on his behalf for this totaled vehicle? Michael?
$2,100.
How much was the other car worth?
Oh, $21,200.
So how much did his insurance company pay for the other car?
$21,200.
There we go, $21,200, right? They pay whatever the car is worth. That's what they paid. Class, do you see that insurance really got his back here? Yeah, he saved a bunch. How much did he save at your seats? How much did he save at your seats? Because he had liability. Again, he had to anyway. He couldn't have opted out of it. But how much did he save by having liability coverage? Elaine?
20,900.
Ooh.
I messed up with the
Yeah, something got messed up there. Bryson?
$18,970.80.
18,000.
970.
And you said 88 cents? There we go. How many have that same answer? There we go. So careful typing those numbers in there. That's how much you saved. Now, net loss on the collision deal, big time net gain on the liability, and that's why you have liability insurance. Looking at number 6, Troy and Jessica Bradley going to buy a house. They're going to pay an annual, what does annual mean, class? Yearly. Home insurance premium of $2,170. How much do they pay each month into their escrow account for insurance? Well, if we know the annual and we want to know how much per month, what do we got to do, class?
Divide.
We already know the big picture, the whole year. I want to know all the little pieces.
Divide.
Divide by 12. At your seats, divide that by 12. How much every month are they paying for home insurance? How much they paying monthly here? Corey, what you got? $180.83. How many have that same answer? All right, good. Moving on. Number 7, their policy has a $2,000 deductible. During their first year in their new home, small fire started in the kitchen, led to $6,980 in repair and restoration. How much did they save by having home insurance? Well, did the insurance company pay $6,980, class?
No.
No. If it's okay, here's the key, Michael. When it's the other person's car, insurance pays it all. But when it's your own, you got to pay your deductible, right? Well, this is their own home. So they pay the first how much for this, class?
$2,000.
They pay the first $2,000. So how much does insurance pay for them?
$4,980.
But remember, insurance has gotten some money from them this first year as well, right? How much money did insurance get from them through premiums? Look back at number 6.
$2,170.
$2,170. So really, by the time they've paid their premiums and they paid their deductible, how much do they really save by having home insurance? How much did they really end up saving here? Griffin?
$2,810.
There we go. $2,810 is correct. Number 8. Mr. Bradley thought, we should have life insurance. Nothing like your wife starting a fire in the kitchen to make you think about life insurance. So, we should probably be insured. So they each get life insurance. He pays every month. How much, Ben?
$128.
We're on number 8.
Oh.
Mr. Bradley, he and his wife, they want to have life insurance, so he pays how much every month?
$16.50. I'm at 70.
$16.70 a month. And his wife also has to pay how much every month for her policy?
$12.40.
All right, so they're each paying every single month, right? Together, both of them are making their payments, their premiums. How much is that together every month?
$29.10.
Right, how'd you get that?
I just added that.
Right, just add them together. The question is, how much do they pay every year for their life insurance? Class, multiply by 12. And what do we get for their annual premiums together, combined? And technically, could you multiply each number by 12 separately and then add? You could. This is faster. How much do they pay for life insurance every year? It's really not that much, Corey.
$349.20.
$349.20 is correct. Number 9, yes, sir.
I was gonna say we skipped 5.
We skipped 5?
Yeah.
Oh, well, real quick, it was percent of increase, right? How do we find percent of increase, class?
Change over.
We'll skip it for sake of time. The answer is 19%. Dropping down to number 9. Violet's employer provides health insurance, but the company only pays 75% of the premiums. The remaining 25% is deducted from her monthly paychecks. This is how a lot of health insurance works. The employer pays for part, you pay for part. Some places the employer pays for all of it, but here she has to pay 25% of each of these. Now every month Violet sees $128 deducted from her paycheck. How much is her employer paying? This is kind of an interesting problem. How much is the employer paying every month? Well, she's paying what percent, class?
75.
No, she's paying what percent?
25.
She's paying 25. 25% is deducted from her monthly paychecks. The company pays 75%. Do you see that the company pays 3 times as much? Does everyone understand 75 is 3 times as big as 25? So if she's paying 128, just multiply by 3. How much does the company pay every month for her to have health insurance? Call it? $384, right? Okay, so how much is Violet paying though?
128.
128. So when it asks number 10, how much does Violet pay for health insurance each year, class? What do we need to do?
128 times 12.
Just 128 times 12. Every year Violet pays.
$1,536.
Violet, $1,536. Is that what she said? $1,536. Now, the next question says, how much does the insurance company make each year from this? Well, this is how much they get from Violet, right? The company paid what again in number 9? No, well, 75%. They paid $384, right? We have that written down. Company pays $384 every month. So how much does the company pay in a year?
$4,608.
$4,608. Does everyone see where we got that from? Just 384 times 12. So in a year, insurance makes how much?
$6,144.
Insurance is doing all right for themselves. By the way, I think those numbers are very conservative, honestly, truly. Typically, insurance for the year for a person is going to be up around $12,000 to $18,000 a year. But that's since Obamacare went into effect. Question?
What was number 7 again?
Number 7. So we said that this is how much damage was done. The whatever their name was, Bradley's, had to pay their deductible. So insurance technically paid them this much. But since they had, in the previous problem, paid this much in premiums, we found that they really only saved $2,810. All right, clear desk. Clear desk, except for a pencil and a piece of paper and a calculator. Pencil, paper, calculator. Pencil, paper, calculator. Everything else away. Let's see how well we remember insurance. Take a quiz. If you're watching on YouTube, this is Quiz D. Quiz D. When you get your quiz copy, put your first and last name in the name spot and today's date in the date spot. First and last name in the name spot. Today's date in the date spot. All right, first and last name in the name spot. Today is 3/6/24. 3/6/24 today's date. Well, let's take a look at the quiz together. There's just a few problems there at the bottom. Of course, you'll use your calculator for those. Although, if you do some steps, I'd encourage you to show what you did. Now do it on the calculator, don't do it on paper because we're lazy, but show what you need to do there on the paper. And then in the blanks for numbers 1 through 12, choose the term that goes with each of these. Obviously there are more terms than answers, so not all answers will be used. There's no homework this evening, so we'll end the video here.